Now I can destroy the community. Now I can destroy the culture. Now I can wreck the society, because the primary institutions that are purposed to raise and ready, make warriors who are ready, they can't do it because I've infiltrated the church. I've infiltrated the family, and from the inside, I've attacked them, and I've made them incapable of producing what they were purposed to produce.
Hi, this is Bishop James Dixon at the Community of Faith Church, welcoming you to the Empowered by Faith broadcast. So delighted to bring to you another series of messages entitled Kingdom Families, Are You Woke? This broadcast is going to bless your life. This message is going to penetrate from one generation to the next. You've got to see it. Kingdom Families, Are You Woke? And don't forget, you can always keep up with what we're doing through social media. The Community of Faith Church is so actively engaged and impacting our community, making a difference for the glory of God. We call that battleship versus cruise ship ministry, and there is a distinct difference. Truth of the matter is, so many churches have become cruise ships, but in times like these, we need battleships. And if you're looking for that kind of church, you just found it. It's the Community of Faith Church here in Houston, Texas. After this brief promo, we'll be right back with this message entitled, Kingdom Families, Are You Woke?
What kind of church are you looking for? And for such a time as this, what kind of church is God calling us to be? Bishop James Dixon, pastor of the Community of Faith Church, answers this question like this.
In times like these, God is calling for the church to be a battleship, not a cruise ship. Make sure you're partnering with that kind of church, because in a time of crisis, you're going to need a battleship to make the difference.
Clearly, the crises of our times are many. Poverty abounds as over 80% of students in our public school qualify for free lunch. The $150 billion sex and human trafficking industry is rampant as predators roam the internet and social media. Traffickers are preying on schools, recruiting our children as victims. Mass incarceration is a multi-billion-dollar enterprise that by design feeds on Black and Hispanics. Police brutality, highlighted by the death of George Floyd, is an ongoing phenomenon. Violence is all around us. Our neighborhoods are soaked with bloodshed. Then there is the wickedness of racism, is seen in voter suppression tactics and government policies.
We know that our church is a battleship church and our pastor is a battleship general. We're not a cruise ship church, and we don't have a cruise ship pastor that is about entertaining.
Bishop Dixon is about empowering God's people. He knows what we need in regard to racism, negative people, and real life challenges.
Cruise ship churches are over. It's time for battleship churches. Because cruise ships go where there's no trouble. Battleships go where there's a crisis. Cruise ships entertain people. Battleships empower people.
If our pulpit preaching doesn't lead people to take action, then it's not relevant. Just think, there were pastors in churches that rejected Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Pastors in churches literally wouldn't support him and didn't join the God's Freedom movement. It's the same today.
I'm honored to be connected to a battleship church with a true warrior for justice. At the COF, you can't be selfish or lazy. We're making a difference every single day.
Of course, we're so proud of our son, but our son is also our pastor.
We pray for him every day as he pours his life out to serve God by serving others.
I keep thinking that one day we will be their battleship leaders. We will be leading the way and fighting on behalf of others to make a difference.
Bishop Dixon empowers us. As he says, exposure expands expectations. Seeing him work inside and outside the church inspires me to do the same.
Battleship churches follow the model of Jesus Christ. He did his work outside of the church, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, empowering those who are the least. That's the kind of church we are. We are a battleship church.
Join the Battleship Church, the Community of Faith Church, and this is our victory. even our faith.
This means that the church and the Christian family is purposed to raise and reproduce generations who care, who have the care, who have the conviction, who have the commitment, and who have the competencies that are required to be worshipers, witnesses, workers, and warriors for Christ. You see? And so, with these children, with your sons, with your daughters and sons, with mine, the question is, have we raised them? And then do they have the convictions? The deep down conviction, which means I have a core belief concerning the church and the kingdom agenda in earth. It's my personal conviction that this is the most important thing I can be a part of on earth. The highest privilege I have is to be connected to the kingdom of Jesus Christ and doing his work on the earth. That's a conviction that every kingdom warrior, every kingdom worshiper, every kingdom worker, every kingdom witness has to have. Because if I don't care about it, if I don't have the core convictions, then I cannot maintain the commitment. And so we've raised now 3 generations of uncommitted people. Get this, in Christian households. Get it. We've raised now 3 generations who don't have the care, don't have the conviction to maintain the commitment to the cause of Christ on the earth. And they've grown up in Christian families. Now, I want to say to you that the tragedy here cannot be overstated. Cannot be overstated. The cost of this reality is supreme. So let's focus today on what it means to be warriors. What it means to be warriors. I want you all to understand, what grade are you in? 10th grade. What grade are you in? 6th grade. Wonderful. What grade are you in, baby? 7th grade. 10th grade. College graduate. All right. So we got it from college graduates down to the 6th grade. Now, I'm going to say some things that are challenging, but I need you all to listen to what the pastor's teaching. Okay? And I need all mothers and fathers, at whatever stage you're at, to understand these things now. Because as a Christian parent, kingdom father, kingdom mother, you're supposed to be raising warriors. Yes, warriors. Warriors. That's a part of the kingdom identity, is to be a warrior. Okay? Now, in order to be a warrior, you have to be able to do several things. One, identify the enemy. There is no need for warriors if there's no enemy. Now, we have to intentionally own God's enemy as our enemy. Whoever is a threat to the operatives of God, to the agenda of Christ, becomes our enemy. We're making sense now. We have to identify this enemy. And I'm saying to us that when 9/11 happened, all of a sudden, the enemies that attacked those buildings became all of our enemies. Am I making sense? Now we understand that all of us are under attack by a common enemy. By a common enemy. Let me tell you what's important here. The kingdom family has to understand that our common...
I know this message is provocative and it's making you think, because the devil is trying to destroy kingdom families. That's why you've got to be woke. In just a moment, we'll return with more of the message. But for now, I want to tell you thank you for your prayers. Thank you for staying with us on social media. And you can support this ministry. Cash App is on the screen. You can do it through our website, but you can also text it. We need your support and your partnership, because as a Battleship Church, it takes people like you to support ministries like this to keep this on the air. Thank you for doing so. We're praying for you. And now back to the message.
That our common enemy in this kind of warfare, which is spiritual, our number one, our enemy is postmodernity. Postmodernity. I want you to write that down. Postmodernity. How is Satan fighting against us now? What's his strategy? You see, if I ask you who God's enemy was, you're going to say the devil. Yeah. And yes, he is. But what's his strategy? How has he infiltrated our territory to destroy us from within? Now, I want to say something to you. I need you to make notes, please, mama, please, daddy. Don't go to sleep on this. It's postmodernity. 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 Now, I need us to write that down, because most of us have never read about postmodernity. Most of us have never talked about postmodernity. You may have heard the word just in passing in a sermon or two, all right? But you've never done your homework on what is postmodernity. Postmodernity speaks of the epoch of the times we're in. When 1 Chronicles 12:32 says that the sons of Issachar understood their times and knew what Israel should do. It meant that word understand, benah in the Hebrew, means to have thought wisely about the conditions of the day. It means to separate and to divide things for the purpose of careful analysis, to get at what is not only what's happening, but why is it happening? And what's the purpose of it happening? And what's the potential of it? And what's the crisis of it? What can it cause? To understand the times. It's not just to listen to know the music, but know the content of the music and know the spirit behind the content. To see the politics and understand who's running for office. I know what they're talking about, but let me dig deeper to understand what is the long-term agenda. To understand the times. Okay, we are no longer in a literary society. We're in a society of the visible. Watch this now. There was a time that we were a literary society. You had to read it in a book. All right, writings, and because writing deals with what's been researched and documented. Now we're moved by images. All right, so if you don't understand, in postmodernity, it's images that move us as opposed to information. Got it? Because the image can move you, and so now we follow images, not information. Oh, God. So we don't even read to know what's behind the image. The image is enough to move us, which is why we are on screens. Which is why we live our lives now on screens, on cell phones and iPads, because screens move us. Images tell us what to do. Images tell us where to go. Images tell us what's cool. Images tell us what to believe. Because now we are sold images, not information. Little on information, big on images. You see, it's the bigger the image, the more believable the image is. You see, so now our children are following images. And if you don't understand the spirit behind the image, then you will have your children following images and the spirit behind the image, but you never investigated it, which means you don't understand the times. Oh. You have to understand the times. And I need y'all to understand that we're dealing now, we're in an era where the influences are images, not information. So the hardest thing to do now is to get us to read the Bible. Why? Because you can't see Peter walk on water. You can't see Jesus turn 5 loaves and fish into a banquet. You can't see those images. So now that information to you is irrelevant because it's not exciting enough. And for us, unless I see the image, it's not real. Now, in this postmodern age that we're in, the postmodern age. Come on, say the postmodern age. Yes. All right, and so we do with the postmodern age and the postmodern culture and postmodern appetites and postmodern attitudes. All right, so the enemy has slipped in the age of postmodernity and has programmed the age with relativism, pluralism, and humanism. Okay, y'all BC got to get this. BC, I got to hurry. Relativism, pluralism, and humanism. Please get that. Please get that. Please get that. Because you are an armed parent if you don't understand this. Which means your children and your grandchildren are vulnerable because you are unarmed. You have to understand the times. I have to understand the times. And I want to get to this in a minute. Come on, I say understand the times. Okay. Relativism means that everything is relative. Truth is relative. All right? This means that there is no objective truth or no objective standard is relative. In other words, your truth is not my truth. And her truth is not your truth. You see, it's all relative. Which means that, if it feels true to you, then it's true to you. Relative means that truth changes based on the times that we're in. And so people say things like, that's old-timey. That's old school. And you got to watch the language, you see, because the programmers of the culture understand how to use language. So, listen, that's old school. Oh, she's old school. You know what that means? Don't listen to her anymore. Okay? So your mama is old school. Your grandmother who went to church every Sunday, that's old school. Your granddaddy who read the Bible and went to prayer meeting, he's old school. So now the pastor is old school. So that means don't listen to them. Because what they're talking about is not relevant to you. Because now, today, I live in a different time, and truth for us is different. That's why I'm careful when people say, Bishop, we know you're old school. You're lying. I ain't no old school. I ain't old school. I ain't old school. Yeah, I'm in school. Yeah, you just got the class. Just because you just got the class don't make me old school. But see, relativism, and you got to understand what that means. Then pluralism. Pluralism is an advancement of relativism, which means now we're in a pluralistic society. And that simply means that everybody is right. Everybody is right. Everybody's right. Pluralism means the affirmation of everyone's ideologies, everybody's system of beliefs. Whatever you choose is right for you. You believe that it's right for you. The only thing that's wrong in pluralism is calling somebody wrong. So now we're in a society where you call somebody wrong, and now there's a protest against you. So now you have churches that are afraid to say what's wrong. Not just because of what the folk outside would do, but people inside will leave. So now you got a mama and a daddy at home that can't tell their child what's wrong. Because the child has been indoctrinated by relativism and pluralism, so now even your child don't believe that you have a right to tell them what's wrong. And they'll tell you, well, mama, that was wrong for you, but it's not wrong for me. And then here's the catchword. The catch-all word is stop judging. Y'all not talking to me. Stop judging. So now you have churches putting up signs that says, come here and don't worry ever about being judged. Because that's the catch-all word that's used to make you feel bad for saying what's right and what's wrong. My amens are dying out now. You have been influenced from the inside, the enemy's attack inside through pluralism. Because now you say, you know, and you apologize to your own kid before you try to give them advice. Look, let me apologize because I don't want to offend you. I don't want to make you feel bad. You know, you got to make your own decisions, and you know, you know. Let me ask you a question. What's 2 plus 2? What is it? It ain't almost 4. It's not 4 if you feel like it's 4. It's not 4 if 4 works for you. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's based on a law that will not change. Now, you can call it 5. You can call it 3. But 2 plus 2 is 4. Every day. On every soil. In every house. Every year. But the only law in pluralism is a law of telling somebody else they're wrong. So if I feel like, you know, 2 women all have a right to have a marriage, if you don't want that, that's okay. But don't blame me. Don't say I'm wrong. If I say, you know, I can have a man and a husband and a wife and a husband at the same time, as long as we love each other, that's us. That's you wanted 1 man and 1 woman, that's good for you. But that's not for me. Just don't judge us. Now I want to tell you, you see, this is what's destroying the kingdom family and the kingdom church. So now we cannot develop generations that are fit and ready to be warriors for Christ. Because we haven't identified the enemy and how the enemy works through pluralism and relativism and humanism. And humanism simply makes man his own God. Humanism makes man his own God, to where we don't have to submit to God as an authority. God actually serves our interests. rather than us serving God's interests. You need to get that. In humanism, humanism makes man his own God.
We sincerely hope you're enjoying the ministry of Bishop James Dixon. We also hope you appreciate the work we're doing to impact our community and the world. To keep up with Dr. Dixon and all we do, follow Bishop Dixon on all social media. Subscribe to his YouTube at Bishop James Dixon. Follow Bishop D on Facebook and Instagram. Stay connected and you'll be amazed at what we're doing to impact the world for Jesus. Stay connected and stay empowered by faith.
Wow, I know that you want more of this message. That's why you got to tune in tomorrow to Empowered by Faith. And don't forget to tell your friends to check it out. People who are seeing it are talking about it because this is a different kind of TV ministry. I know it, and I know you're enjoying it. So don't forget to share that information with others, to tune in to the Empowered by Faith broadcast. And also, if you need a pastor, you need a church home, you can become a member of the Community of Faith Church virtually, even, yes, right now. Dial the number on your screen. We'll pray for you. We'll connect you, because what you need right now is to be a partner and a member of a Battleship Church with a pastor who's not afraid to tackle the real crisis of our times. Oh, we're empowered by the Holy Ghost. And that's why we are not afraid at all. Join us and you can make a difference with us for the glory of God. Till tomorrow, keep walking by faith and not by sight.
Thank you for tuning in today. We're certain this end-time message has been relatable, resourceful, and is refueling you to want to make changes in order to be a change agent for yourself, your family, your community, state, and yes, this nation. This is not it. There's more. To receive this message in its entirety, simply go to thecommunityoffaith.org, click on the e-giving prompt. Here you'll click on the donation button, and you'll find this message available as an MP3 or MP4. Or you may purchase by text, texting the word GIVE, that's GIVE, to 713-338-9011. Select this message and format preferences. Both are secure ways to obtain this message today.
Nothing is impossible. Empowered. You got to believe your dreams are unstoppable.